What's up everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor. Huge shout out to Randy, Mary, and Mooresville for providing this truck for me today. They have a huge selection of new and pre-owned inventory. That link is down in the description. Definitely check them out. This Raptor is finished off in azure gray metallic. MSRPs start right around $78,000, and the Raptor is powered by the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. It's paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission, pumping out 450 horsepower, 510 pound-feet of torque. That power is primarily sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 5,700 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in around 5 seconds with a top speed of 114 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 36 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city, 16 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 145 inches. Its overall length is 232.6. It has a width of 86.8, a height of 79.8, and its ground clearance measures in at 12 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the Ford Raptor, let's start off with the grille, because all of the Raptors come with the very distinctive Ford logo spelled out massively in this grille. There's also plenty of cutouts, provide a lot of cooling. There's active grille shutters that are located just behind those cutouts as well. There's a forward-facing camera right in between the O and R. And then this also has the Raptor lights, I will call them, at the top section of that grille. This is a massive truck, so those are a regulation, I believe. This also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signal. The Raptor logo is also within those housings, and they have a nice design to them, along with the bodywork that surrounds them. So you'll notice that we have a very nice surround for the entire upper grille, just giving it a great look. There's also some cutouts in the middle. This has rigid LED fog lights. There's tow hooks and sensors down below, even skid plates that are up underneath. And we do have a steel front bumper too, which is great to see. Now this also has some very nice lines coming down the hood with the Raptor logos on both sides of that middle hood scoop there, just to give it more of an aggressive look. And there's also a 75 years badge at the top of the windshield, along with another sensor for the adaptive cruise. Now, as we take a look at the side now, this Raptor has an aftermarket set of wheels and tires, but these are 37-inch tires that are 13.5 inches wide with a 22-inch wheel, and there appears to be no rubbing issues with those 37s. So it's awesome to see that for this truck, these really aren't all that large of a tire, but it gives it a lot of ground clearance and a cool look. This also has body-colored side mirrors with the camera and the turn signal. There's a sunroof up top. There's even the steel running boards with Raptor on the back section, so you can use these to enter and exit, of course, or you can use them for that underside protection if you are taking this off the pavement. And then we'll take a look at the Fox suspension. You can see that in the rear, where there's also the reservoirs, and that same suspension is up front, of course. As we take a look at the rear, Ford is spelled out just like up front with F-150 and Raptor. There's a backup camera, LED taillights. All of the sensors are within that steel bumper, where there's also 2 tow hooks, and then the dual exhaust as well. Let's take a listen to what the Raptor sounds like, because we do have remote start. You can also use the key fob to shut it off. I know a lot of people are sad that the V8 has gone away, but the V6 here still sounds very good. This can also tow right around 8,200 pounds as well, which is pretty impressive for this off-road focused truck. We can also take a look at the tailgate just by double tapping that button. You can use the one up top, of course. And in back, we do have the smaller bed, but it is still very large for any items that you need to place in the back. There's some cargo lights. There's also a 3-prong over on that driver's side. And this one does have an aftermarket cover currently installed. Of course, that's a personal preference with what you are using this bed for. But on the tailgate itself, there's a ruler. There's also some areas where you could place some tools, pens, any items that you may have, so you can use this as a proper work truck. And then, just like a lot of the Ford trucks, this has the bed step along with that handle there. So it makes it much easier to enter and exit, especially if you are using this every single day. This makes it so much nicer and convenient. You do have to have 2 hands in order to put this down, but once you have that down, it's very lightweight too and easy to close. So again, if you're using this every day, you don't have to keep jumping up and down from that tailgate. Now, as we work our way to the back seats, we have a very nice interior for this with this material in the top section, all the stitching and leather. There's the Bang and Olufson sound system and plenty of storage both in the lower and middle section of that door. And then as we work our way to these leather seats, they have a really cool two-tone design to them. There's also storage hidden up underneath. So as you can tell right now, this is a giant box under the seat, or you can place some items just by pulling on this tab. You do need two hands in order to do that, but now you can get a look at that storage space. And then you can also fold this down and have it nice and flat. So if you have some larger items that you'd like to place through, you can quickly do that. And then you can easily fold that seat back down. Now at 5'10", with that side step and grab handle, it makes it much easier to get up into this truck. Now there's storage pockets behind both front seats. There's drink holders along with some storage in the middle. These are even heated rear seats, and there's a lot of auxiliaries that you can use along with the climate vents and a ton of space to put anything by your feet. Now my height, again, I have about an inch or so above my head, but it's super comfortable. It's very spacious, so three of me could fit back here. Being a full-size truck, of course, that is one of the advantages. Now right in the middle, there's two more cup holders and the armrest. This has the electronic sliding rear window and then the full moonroof, which is a great option to see for this. Now as we work our way to the driver's seat, the door panel is just like the rear. However, there's the controls for memory seating. There's also the power folding side mirror adjustments, all the window controls, and then the same amount of storage space as you saw in the rear. Ford Performance is also down on the door sill, and then we have the automatic Raptor seats, which have a great design to them. And for your front seat passengers, you do get another grab handle, which is extremely helpful. There's the red racing stripe right in the middle of the leather steering wheel with Raptor spelled out in the bottom. But let's fire this up again and get some revs of this Raptor. And coming back to this digital gauge cluster, on the left side there's the tach, right side is miles per hour. There's also some fixed information in the upper section like fuel, oil, and engine temperature. And then you also have a lot more within the center that you can go through. So in order to do that, you have to use the controls over on the right side of the steering wheel where there's menu, there's a back, there's some arrows to go through. There's also a lot more controls though. You have steering, so there's a few different settings for steering, just depending on how you want the vehicle to react. There's also a fourth one there. I believe you have to be in the R mode in order to do that. There's also a few suspension settings that you can go into, and then we even have the exhaust note that you heard earlier by going through those settings. Now on this left side, there's the R mode along with your cruise and adaptive cruise control settings, lane keeping assist, and then volume and voice commands. And there's also massive steering wheel mounted paddle shifters that you can use. But let's get back to this info in the middle. So we have gauges that you can look at. You have a lot of measurements and vitals that you can also monitor. There's TPMS. The off-road setting here will change the gauge cluster slightly, and now you have your pitch and roll right in the center along with the degrees for the steering wheel. There's power distribution, there's also some engine information, driver assistance, and then we are back to the Raptor status. Now if I push on the R button again, we are into the Raptor status that you can customize and change. So just depending on how you want to have that set up, you can quickly go through it and get all of those adjustments. That is it for the digital gauge cluster, but it provides you with a lot. Now on this left side, there are lights on these side view mirrors. So you have your spotlights. There's also the power for the outlet in the bed, along with being able to open up that tailgate. All of the headlight and fog light adjustments are just underneath that with some dimmer switches. There's the e-brake and the pedal adjustments. So you can move the pedals just to get a little bit more comfortable. There's one air vent with a really nice red accent there. And then more storage up top along with the Bang and Olufson logo there. And then as we move on to the infotainment system, just above that, there's a control or shortcut for the 360 camera system. So when you pull that up, of course, you get all of this visibility, which is great, just depending on what you'd like to see and what you are doing for the day. This also has parallel parking, so you can use that to help you in those situations. There's the hazards, traction control, and then an off-road setting that you can push on as well. And then as we work our way back to this screen, All the presets are in the lower section, so you can get into your audio and phone, pull up your navigation, go into favorites that you have set up. There's also apps like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, some other settings that you can go through just to customize this the way that you would like to. And then we also have features like the Pro Power on Board, driver assistance. This even gets the trail turn assist. So that basically shortens your turning radius when you are off the pavement. There's zone lighting too, so you can turn on everything as a spotlight. And then over on the right side, this is the split screen. So you can still go through some info while you have info on that left side, which is nice. Now this also has the Pro Trailer system, so when you're backing up, you can help use this in order to back up, of course. There's trailer braking, there's the 4-wheel drive selectors for 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, even the locking rear diff, and you do have a few different driving modes. So there's Sport, there's also Normal, you have an off-road setting, there's Baja, Rock and Crawl there, and then we go all the way back to the left, we can get into Tow and Haul, Slippery, and then that is the last one. So just depending on how you want to drive this. Right in the middle, there's volume. You also have 2 different other settings that you can look at for that center screen. There's some more audio adjustments, all of the climate adjustments. These are even heated and cooled seats, so you have those adjustments with your temperature dials. And then underneath that, if I slide this tray open, there's wireless charging with some more auxiliaries and a little bit more space. 2 cup holders on that right side with a small area. Maybe you can place your phone or something like that. And then for this shifter, if we put it into reverse, that backup camera will appear. Drive is all the way to the back. If you push on the M, that is for the manual setting. So that will allow you to use the paddle shifters as needed. And then if I put this back into park and push on this button here, the entire shifter is going to be level with everything else. That is going to allow you to flip up the center armrest where you can place your computer, your lunch, whatever you're doing for the day. You have a nice flat surface where you can still work from your truck. Very cool to see that. And then if I open up the center armrest, there's a massive amount of space for any additional items that you would like to place. So this is set up to be a work truck and give you those creature comforts. Now there's some more auxiliaries on that passenger side to charge even more electronics. And then there's also 2 glove boxes. There's a smaller one up top and then a normal one down below. So you have a lot of interior space. Now up top, there's all the dome lights, the controls for the sunshade and sunroof, as well as that rear glass. There's also a sunglass holder, and then all of these factory auxiliary switches that you can use. So if you have compressors, maybe some exterior lights that you want to hook up, you don't have to put in some random buttons. We have everything laid out incredibly well there. And then it's a pickup truck, so there's really no blind spots. You can easily see over both shoulders. As we set up now behind the wheel for the F-150 Raptor, this is such a cool performance-oriented truck. I love when I get to drive them because it's not that often. With a mild acceleration, I have everything in sport mode right now, what I showed earlier, including the exhaust too. I think I have it in Baja actually, just to give it a little bit more of that sound. But this is such a cool truck. It's an F-150, so it's a pretty large full-size truck for what it is. But then you add the Raptor package, which gives it a lot more extra goodies. This is something that you can take to the desert. You can do some high-speed off-roading, which, let's face it, not a lot of people are going to be doing that. It's more of a cool factor to have the Raptor. But I would love to test this off the pavement and really see how well this would do. Let's put it into the manual setting though, so we can use these paddle shifters, which is pretty cool to see in a truck. They're actually pretty quick, which is great to see. They're massive too. It's not something I would expect to see for a pickup truck like this. But with this $80,000 plus pickup truck, you have a lot to make this a comfortable daily driver. So it's a lot of money for a truck, but you also get a lot for that money as far as being able to drive this every single day. This is a work style truck. You could use it with some of the features that Ford has included in this particular model. So it's expensive. A lot of people I've seen use expensive trucks like this. You know, there's diesels and other models like that. But if you want something that's both performance oriented and still capable to daily drive, take it to job sites, whatever it may be, you're doing a lot of work with a full-size truck, you can tow with this, you can spend a lot of seat time behind the wheel, and this will be a great place to be. Let's give it another acceleration. For a heavy truck, it doesn't seem like it struggles to get up to speed. I'm not putting my foot down to the floor, but it's very adequate, and I know this has a lot of performance with those numbers that I've gone over earlier. But this is great to drive. I've been in them before. It's a very comfortable truck. This would probably be what I would go with if I needed a fun, full-size truck. Something that's capable both off the pavement as well as on the pavement. Again, you have a lot to go through for this $80,000 truck. It's very, very nice. I've never owned one, but I can't see anything that I don't like about this truck so far with the ones that I have been able to drive. It's got tons of space, a good sound to it. For that V6, it definitely sounds good compared to the outgoing V8. I know a lot of people did not like that Ford went to the twin turbo V6, but it has more power, still has a good sound to it. And from second gear, here we go. I think it sounds good. For a mild acceleration, paddle shifters are super responsive too. So I'm assuming taking this through some trails off the pavement, you would have some great performance going through the gears and just having a ball with this truck. As far as turning radius goes, we can do that. So it's not all that bad on road. You have the trail turn assist for your off-roading situations, which just, again, makes it that much more capable for using this as an all-around style pickup. And this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for almost a six-figure truck, depending on options that you go with and the current market. But I love seeing this hood bulge. It's not too obstructive, so you can still see over that side. And it's a nice, comfortable, smooth ride. The Fox-tuned suspension is going to give you that smooth ride on road as well as the performance off-road. So again, best of both worlds there. Super quiet, tons of space. I mean, you really can't go wrong. If you want a performance-oriented pickup truck, you have this. You also have the RAM TRX. So there's basically the two for the US market. If you want a highly performance-oriented truck, definitely take a look at both, but the Raptor here is a very nice truck. That is going to wrap it up for the walk-around review and test drive with the Ford F-150 Raptor. Once again, a huge shout out to Randy Marion Mooresville for providing this F-150 for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.